Boko Haram violence tore their families apart. After more than 6 years, these boys are finally home.
Zimbabwe's new president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, begins the long journey to heal his nation from decades of human rights abuses.
Help for South Sudan. With convoys moving freely, the United Nations encourages relief efforts. Africa 54 starts right now.
Hello, and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories from near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by my colleague Vincent McCorry at the Voice of America in Washington.
Well, thanks a lot, Joke. Yes, I'm Vincent McCorry at our global headquarters in Washington, D.C. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Now, today's program begins with the story of 8 boys reunited with their families after years of separation. Joke Rogers in Lagos brings you that story.
That's right. 8 miners displaced by Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria have been reunited with their families after nearly 7 years apart. Now, the boys who had taken refuge in the Republic of Cameroon were traced to Bama local government area of Borno State with the help of the International Committee of the Red Cross and returned to their jubilant and excited families in Maiduguri, the state capital. Take a look.
These mothers have not set eyes on their children for years after being separated from them by Boko Haram violence. Renewed hope and joy light up their spirits as they await the arrival of their children from Cameroon, following successful family tracing by the International Committee of the Red Cross. The sight of the ICRC aircraft bringing home 8 children changes the mood as the boys disembark the aircraft. Elated, women break into a run, some of them having lost hope of ever seeing their sons again. The reunification follows weeks of interactions with family members. Fatima, mother of 2 boys, is thankful that efforts at tracing them have finally paid off.
I lost contact with my children 7 years ago during the Boko Haram crisis. Their father and grandparents had also been killed. Red Cross helped us find them, and I am so happy today. I last saw my son more than 5 years ago. He was in school when we all dispersed, but with the help of Red Cross, who spoke to us and took our pictures from both sides. When the information we gave matched, they finally arranged this meeting. I am so happy. I could not even sleep last night.
Bama local government area of Borno State was one of the worst hit areas at the height of Boko Haram attacks in the northeast. Thousands of families were torn apart as locals fled for safety in all directions. The ICRC, among other things, works extensively to restore family links in such areas.
Restoring family link is one way that ICRC assists people. So what we do, the families who are missing their loved ones, they come to ICRC. Or we go to where they are, especially in the camps, and we register those who have got restoring family needs. Then we go and look for the family members. When we get them, we find out if the children are ready to come and be reunified with their parents, and also if the parents are also ready to receive the children back.
The task of finding and returning displaced children from across Nigeria's borders is an ongoing process for the international and local authorities. Nigerian officials say apart from unaccompanied children still outside Nigeria, there are also about 140,000 others in host communities and in IDP camps in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital.
Such joy when families are united, but it's deeper than that. And here to talk about the psychological impact of restoring links between children and their families is a consultant clinical psychologist at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Charles Ume. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So where do we start? You know, what impact does such separation have on those children, separated, in this case, from their families for 7 years?
A lot of psychological impact. Like we all know, the family is usually the source of attachment for growing up children. And that impacts on the kind of personality they come up with and the emotional stability as time goes on. Now, not all the families can do that. And when the family is good and provides all the necessary things required for secure attachment, the child develops appropriately and normally in terms of personality development. But when that is lacking, there will be a problem. And it's even worse when they are separated from the family. During such separation, the child loses touch with the significant others, and the child becomes helpless. Depending on the level of trauma, okay, a lot of things could go wrong in terms of the child's development. For instance, children between ages 12 and 18, when they are separated from the parents or significant others, are bound to have so many emotional problems, especially centering on their identity formation.
Okay, so how do we start helping such children who've been separated from their families? Take the ones from northeast Nigeria, they've been away for 7 years. How do we help them deal with the trauma of being away?
Good. Reintegration is a major issue when it comes to trying to rehabilitate people that have been separated from their families. The reintegration with the family is just the first point, because the family is the source of succor to the child. But at this stage, for the child that has been away for about 7 years, okay, there's going to be a lot of problem, trust issue. The family will be looking at this child. What has he learned new? And what is he coming back with? Then, if they are able to, and that is where the work lies more, because the society is still a little bit distant. The first point of reintegration is what with the family members.
Yeah, so we're saying that, beyond the first, initial excitement of seeing their children come back, that will fade away within a day or two.
Within a very short time.
And then we start to deal with, the other issues. So,
yes.
How should they deal with those children? Really?
And that is where professionals should come in, okay? Because at this point, the professionals will be able to know how to prod into the existential issues that these children might be coming in with. Probably behavior changes, and then the family will now be restoring the child to know whether it's the same child that left them a long time ago, which obviously will never be again.
Wow.
And that is where the immediate problem, suspicion, arises.
Wow.
Okay? And that will create a big gap in the relationship they're going to have. But if a professional comes in, then there are so many techniques that will be used. For example, allowing these children talk more without value judgment, allowing them gradually express their feelings, okay, without anybody trying to be judgmental in their act. That way they ventilate more and they begin to win a bit of trust in the family members.
Right. Thank you so much for your thoughts and for coming on Africa 54. Dr. Charles Ume talking to us there.
Thank you for having me.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, can herdsmen and farmers coexist peacefully? In Yobe State, efforts are underway to end violent clashes.